Hey guys, it's Mish. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you guys with 5 books that I found to be very helpful when it comes to finances, faith, and self-improvement. And I hope that these books that I'm going to discuss here with you guys shortly can be insightful and helpful to you as well. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button. I know that you are going to enjoy this video, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. So the first book that I'm going to be talking about is The Alchemist here by Paulo Coelho. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I've heard about this book for years and I just kind of put it off because I'm not really a big fiction reader. However, there is many lessons about life in general to be learned. I'm just going to read a snippet of the inside flap. It says, "No one knows what the treasure is or if Santiago will be able to surmount the obstacles in his path. But what starts out as a journey to find worldly goods turns into a discovery of treasury found within. Lush, evocative, and deeply humane, the story of Santiago is an eternal testament to the transforming power of our dreams and the importance of listening to our hearts." So basically, in this book, there's this 19-year-old boy who goes on this journey to pursue a dream that he thought or he felt would change his life into the life that he's always dreamt of. At the current time when the book starts, he's just a shepherd boy, so he spends a lot of time just fantasizing and thinking about how life would be or could be if he wasn't a shepherd boy, and if he acted on those thoughts that pop into his head about going away and starting this new life. So in this book, I learned so much just about myself and the way that I process things and the way that I think of things. And I think there's 2 parts in particular that I'm going to bring up, but there's this one where Santiago starts working for this merchant, and he finally saves up enough money to go and do what he wants to do. And the merchant kind of tells him like, hey, like, you should go, like, now is the time, you've been working hard, you've saved your money, the opportunity to go is now. He said, I know that we're doing very well and you're getting paid well, but you'll kind of regret in the end if you never take the opportunity. So at the same time too, Santiago turns around to the merchant and he says, this wasn't always your dream, you can now go and fulfill that dream. And the merchant never really thinks about going to pursue his dream because he's kind of already settled into the fact that he's comfortable and content at where he is at in life, and he doesn't want to risk going out to pursue his dream and then failing and knowing that he could have stayed there at a safe zone. And I think a lot of us kind of get caught up in, do I leap? Do I take the jump to pursue something that I want to do? Or do I take the safe route that I know in the end will get me to A, B, C, and D? But yeah, I'm going to post up a few quotes too from the book that I just found to be like eye-opening and just make you really think about stuff. But yeah, this is a very good book. So if you haven't read this book or you've heard about it and you've been contemplating whether you want to read it or not, I'm telling you, very good. One of my top 3 in all fiction books that I've read by far. So on to the next book. The next book that I have here is Unplug, The Power of Living in the Present. It's a Christian-based book. It's actually my pastor's book. You can find it on Amazon. And this book is just talking about unplugging and being present and capitalizing on the opportunities that you have in life right in front of you, and not worrying about the past or letting the past dictate how your future will look, and kind of just letting go and starting fresh, still being mindful of like where you came from, what experiences you have, but at the same time too being open-minded to having a better relationship with yourself, with your family, with God, Very short read, only 75 pages within the book. There, after each chapter, there's 7 chapters. There's just a reflective spot where you can answer some questions that he poses there. One of my favorite parts is in Unplug, Embrace the Present. The chapter, it says, most of us can attest that there are things we know God is teaching us or working on during different seasons of our lives. Sometimes it's building our faith. At other times, he is developing or maturing our character. Knowing what God is trying to accomplish in this season of your life is critical. As you grasp the insight, you will become a partner in your success. And to me, that part is something we know, but we don't always act like we know. We just have to, be present and be willing to participate in our own lives as much as we want God to participate in our lives as well. Because I feel that we sometimes say things, but then our actions don't reflect the things that we want or the things that we ask for. And even just a few weeks ago, I was praying about a few things for a while now, and then I just had this message come to me, and it was like, God was like, when you're serious, I'll be serious too. And I say that to say that I was praying and doing things partially, or I said that I wasn't gonna entertain certain things or do certain things, but yet when the opportunity presented itself, I still find myself contemplating whether I wanted to do those things or not do those things, when specifically I know that I didn't want to. However, I was used to doing those things, so I was kind of not really being serious or just wanting things to fall in my lap without actually putting in the work or holding out on the temporary fulfillments in order to reach the long-term gratification and things like that. But yes, this book, as I said, you can read it easily in a day, in about an hour and a half or so. Quick read, really has you think about what you want out of life, what's happened in life, and how that plays a role in the way that you operate today. There's another part here, and it talks about being willing to fail. And it says, the fear of failure often prevents people from stepping out to seize God-presented opportunities. Fear aborts many people's dreams or plans before they even get a chance to manifest. Yet, failure is a natural part of life. And even though it's so natural, we live in this world today where we try to act like failure isn't going to happen, or failure is the reason as to why you should stop. And in actuality, I think that just prepares you to have a better product, a better approach, or get a better outcome than you would have had you been able to proceed with the first take on things. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, be sure to check out this book. I think there's an ebook available too. Not really sure, but I will provide the link in the description for this on Amazon. So the next book that I have here is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I have read a few different financial based books, but I feel that this one was the one that resonated with me the most. Dave Ramsey is very popular. If you haven't heard of him, I would advise you to at least start off listening to his podcast. He provides financial advice. So the gist of the book is just, being in control of your finances and budgeting. He's well known for his 7 baby steps, which starts off with you first having $1,000 emergency fund and then starting on paying off your debts. When I first started reading this book, well, let me say listening to this book, because I have the hard copy. However, I did listen to it on Audible on my way to work. I just found that to work best for me. However, I still wanted to have a physical copy just to flip through and highlight things. On the back, it says, with the Total Money Makeover, you'll be able to design a surefire plan for paying off all debts, cars, houses, everything. Recognize the 10 most dangerous money myths that will kill you. Secure a big fat nest egg for emergencies and retirement. I agree that this book does help you with having a great budget that you stick to, as well as preparing you for the future. I don't think it's the end-all be-all book. There's a substantial amount of financial advice out there. However, I do feel that this book provides you with some quality information. And one of the things that I like most about this is that outside of his 7 baby steps, he understands that not everything is going to be the exact same for every person, because we come from different backgrounds, we have different salaries, so therefore the problems that are presented to us aren't going to mirror the next person's problems. And that's what I kind of like about reading this book and listening to that in conjunction with his podcast, because you're learning the information, and then while listening to the podcast, you're hearing him apply the information to other people's life, which is gonna warrant or give them the best outcome. So if you're big on finances and you haven't read this book, and even if you know of Dave Ramsey but you haven't read this book, I promise you that there is gonna be some tidbits of information in here that will be beneficial to you. The 4th book that I have here is Don't Settle for Safe by Sarah J. Roberts. I first came across Sarah J. Roberts on her YouTube account, and ever since then I've just been gravitating towards her. I feel that she really resonates with the millennials. I like her preaching and things of that nature. But this book, Don't Settle for Safe, is about embracing the uncomfortable to become unstoppable. There's so much about yourself in this book, about life, about opportunities, and what so be it. It's only about 180 pages. Talks about loyalty, talks about friendships, talks about patterns, talks about so much in this book. So I'm just going to read a few of the things that I really liked. It says, there's no way to fully determine whether a person is truly interested in investing into you until you've invested into yourself. And for me, it took me so long in life, I believe, just to put myself first and work on improving me. And it like just clicked one day. It's just like, why would I expect anybody to do anything for me or support me if I'm not even willing to support myself or put myself first, or show these people that I value me as a person? And because I think that those things reflect when people are viewing things and you want support, whether you do or don't want support or whatever the case may be. I do think that you are your number one priority, and sometimes we put that on the back burner to whatever life presents us. But furthermore, it says, people can be loyal to who they are, but that doesn't mean they'll be present to watch you come into full maturation. Loyalty is not just about presence. It's about allowing a person to evolve and grow. In its purest state, loyalty is a commitment to protecting another's reputation, evolution, and heart while expecting nothing in return. True loyalty is best proven when two people are not around each other. Another thing that I outlined, it says, you cannot live in the past and maximize the present. And then the last thing that I have here, it says, when God's destiny for your life begins to outweigh the distractions around you, you are honing the gift of focus. If you're too busy trying to appease the distractions in your life, you may miss the opportunity that was meant to reveal something exceptional about yourself. I'm really big on self-discovery and finding new ways or learning new things about yourself, because I feel that when you know yourself, you can better look for something else in other people, things you like, things that you don't like. But when you don't know yourself all that well, I think that people are more susceptible to kind of enter into your life who aren't really good for you. However, if you had known yourself, you would have recognized certain traits and characteristics and qualities in other people because you have a deeper understanding of yourself. And I do think that the people that we come in contact with are a small reflection of us. So once again, very great book. Has some insightful stuff, once again, about just pushing forward, stepping into your purpose, finding what your purpose is, and things of that nature. That I have here is When She Woke by Hillary Jordan. This book takes a modern spin on the Scarlet Letter. I read this book probably back in 2012 when I was in college. It was one of the books that my professors wanted us to read for a women's class. So I'm just going to read the inside flap. It says, I am a red now. It was her first thought of the day, every day, surfacing after a few seconds of fogged, blessed ignorance and sweeping through her like a wave, breaking in her breast with the soundless roar. Hard on its heels came the second wave, crashing into the wreckage left by the first. He is gone. Hannah Payne's life has been devoted to church and family, but after she's convicted of murder, she awakens in a new body to a nightmarish new life. She finds herself lying on the table in a bare room, covered only by a paper gown with cameras broadcasting her every move to millions at home, for whom observing new criminals whose skin color has been genetically altered to match the class of their crime. In a sinister form, It's a sinister form of entertainment. Hannah is arrested for the crime of murder. The victim says the state of Texas was her unborn child, and Hannah is determined to protect the identity of the father, a public figure with whom she shared a fierce and forbidden love. The powerful re-imaging of the Scarlet Letter, When She Woke, is a timely fable about stigmatized women struggling to navigate an America of a not too distant future, where the line between church and state has been eradicated and convicted felons are no longer imprisoned and rehabilitated, but chromed and released back into the population to survive as best as they can. In seeking a path to safety in an alien and hostile world, Hannah unknowingly embarks on a journey of self-discovery that forces her to question the values she once held true in the righteousness of a country that politicizes faith and love. If that doesn't catch your attention, I don't know what will. When I tell you this book caught me off guard, I read The Scarlet Letter in high school. So when the teacher originally mentioned that, I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, like I already know the premise of the story. It's probably going to be boring. But this whole being chromed, which is technically being painted based on the level and of the crime that you committed, I think takes a whole new spin, because I think it just makes everything so much more overt. Like, it's one thing to commit a crime and then be put back into society without people really knowing, except for maybe employers or things like that when you have to check felonies or certain crimes. But it's another thing to be painted yellow, green, or red, and red is the worst of all worst of all the colors, and then trying to survive, because even though people may not know what specific crime you created, they know the degree to which the crime you created. And I think that is the worst part. There's no way to wash it off. Like, that's permanent. It will always be that color. You will always have to live the rest of your life this way. You can't disguise it. You can't hide it. You just have to accept what you did and move forward and find people that accept you too. And especially her, Hannah, in this story, I think being painted red opens her eyes to so much, how people treat her, how people view her, and the reasoning behind why she did what she did. I think in the end kind of disgusts her because she feels that maybe it wasn't worth it. But anyways, that was my perception of the book. It is a phenomenal book. I don't know how much hype the book got when it first came out. As I said, I read it in college and I fell in love with this book. I've had my dad read it. I've had other friends of mine read it and they all love it. Hillary Jordan did a very good job. Great job. Phenomenal job when she was writing this book. So I want to thank you guys for sitting and watching my video. I hope that the books that I presented interested you in some way, shape, or form to go out and buy or listen to them on Audible or something like that. In the comments below, you guys let me know some of the books that you've read that you just find to be phenomenal and a great read. It might be beneficial to someone else. But until next time, I'll catch you guys in the comments, and be sure to check out some of my other content. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button, and catch you in the next video.